With the whole concept of the distributed workspace today and the distributed workforce, I'm, or at least, well, a large percentage of the workforce understands that the concepts of security. But in your estimate, Alok, what are those critical pillars of the endpoint as well as security by itself in its overarching concept that will allow folks and leaders such as yourselves to ensure that employees, by and large, have the flexibility, the freedom, and the experience, yet for you to be able to manage security for different kinds of personalities and different kinds of job roles? How do you navigate that very complex journey, really?
Well, it is super complex if you go with the notion that you have to manage security by virtue of, okay, this group X level security, this group Y, and this group Z. So again, easily managed when sitting inside the offices, but yes, when you are out, then that's why I say that the user training plays a major role. So you can see, when you are at home, you can put n number of tools, but still you are at that risk. But yes, so because if the users are not like copying the data, there is a risk that they may like click a photo. But yes, there are technologies in the market that don't allow you that also. But it, again, it depends upon, again, the organization's requirement. So if it's a bank, definitely yes, they will go for it, because they cannot they cannot compromise the user credit card data or the banking details or the funds that they have in the accounts. So yes, so from that perspective, definitely the access management definitely takes a major step in that direction, wherein you need to your access management has to be very very precise, that what people are what access people have, and then it should be like very much on the need to know basis, but whether they should be having that access or not. Because again, anyone having more access than they normally have, it's a it's a danger, I would say. And that is where all our access management tools, by virtue of which you, there has to be some method of managing the expiry of that access. See, in today's world, this is one of the weakest areas. So people grant access and then they forget. Even after that, and then the people like change roles or they change projects, but the access is still there. Or there can be cases that the person leaves the organization and sometimes joins back. And there are a few organizations that can allocate the same IDs also. So that is another risk. So I think with all this happening, I think we all as an industry leaders have to be very very careful of this very basic stuff. We normally concentrate on the very high level, on the broad level, but which is the stuff which is very basic, I think that is forgotten, and that is where the leaks actually happen.
Very interesting. Because I'm going to come to you with a very, very important and very relevant question given the current context. The whole concept of, and this has been a raging debate really, Alok, and I'd like your views on this. The very concept of innovation and security, how do they kind of go hand in hand together?
you know Innovation and security, yeah, good question. So they actually go very much hand in hand. So how do I can explain you with a I can try to explain you with a use case
Oh,
wherein,
that'll be lovely.
yeah. So from innovation and security perspective, you should not always think from the perspective that security is only about the tools. You can have uh, like multiple tools for different stuff, but yes, if you don't have a proper alert mechanism. So it's like that you configure a tool and then you are getting like a lot of alerts which are like of all the categories, which is low information, medium, high, critical. And then you don't have the sufficient workforce or the people who can actually triage, or you can actually like look at everything. Because we have to be realistic that not every lower information alert is people are what they are like taking care of. So yeah, so from the innovation perspective, you have to automate the stuff. Either you need to write your own scripts, or then again there is stuff available in the market, like with the SIEM solutions are there, which wherein you can put in all your logs and then they correlate. The most important part is the correlation, that all the tools that you have in all the tools that you have in your organization, they should be talking to each other. It should not that the EDR is standalone, the cloud firewall is standalone, the GCP is standalone, and then when something happens, then three different teams are fighting with each other, which normally used to happen, and it will happen at least for the next like 3 to 5 years, until this correlation gets into our DNA that this we have to do. Because after this, because doing if you like start looking at like standalone stuff, then it will never ever work. So that is where the innovation steps in. And again, there are a lot of scripts that can be developed and they talk to each other, but still, again, depends upon the size of the organization. If it's a small organization, definitely scripting can work. But if it's a big organization with like 100,000 people working over there, then no, then see the scripts also have their own limitation, and that is where the enterprise level tools come into the picture.
Very, very, very strongly put. Because I now come to a segment in our conversation where I think it's important for us, Alok. See, you've got a very wide vista, a spectrum of an expanse of view, having and given your vast experience. When you kind of bring about the concepts of the future of work, which include the workforce, the workplace, and work culture, obviously, on one hand, and on the other, you have the future of trust. How do you kind of combine the two to navigate a journey that is as perhaps seamless as can be for organizations? What is your essential guidance? How should folks go about it?
Well, the trust factor is completely dependent on the human factor. That the human factor comes into picture over there. So we have seen organizations like what they are doing is that they are getting a one pager sign from the end users that this they can do or they cannot do, and they must remember to follow the security guidelines and all. But again, a human is a human, so they can do that intentionally or unintentionally, and in most of the cases is the mistake is unintentional, but yes, the consequences are the same. We all know that the consequences can be like, it can be like anything from the organization perspective, from the individual perspective, it differs. But yes, from the trust factor, the technology, again, that is from the human perspective. But if you take into account the technology, then the zero trust architecture that is coming in, and there is a lot of debates that are going on, that how to deploy it and what are the key features that can be utilized. So to be honest, we have still not evaluated that part, but yes, that is something that we are definitely thinking on evaluating and seeing where how can that the ZTNA, the zero trust network architecture, help our security ecosystem to give a complete boost. Because we don't want to be the first ones to be getting into that, but yes, we don't want to be the last ones also. So yes, definitely that is something that has to be evaluated and looked into to check this trust factor.